East war, how a single strike sparked a global crisis. What if a single strike could push the world to the edge of a much larger war? Over the past few days, the Middle East has erupted into one of the most dangerous military confrontations in decades. The United States and Israel have launched major attacks on Iran, and Iran has responded with missiles, drones, and threats to global oil routes. Cities are being bombed, oil prices are surging, and the conflict is spreading across multiple countries. Here's what's happening, and why the entire world is watching. The crisis began when Israel, backed by the United States, launched a massive military operation against Iran. According to international reports, the strikes targeted military facilities and leadership sites across the country. The attacks were part of a campaign aimed at weakening Iran's military capabilities and preventing it from developing nuclear weapons. The situation escalated dramatically when Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was reportedly killed in the initial strikes. For Iran, this was not just a military attack, it was a direct strike at the heart of the regime. Tehran quickly vowed revenge, and within hours, the region began to explode. The conflict quickly spread beyond Iran. Israel began launching large-scale airstrikes across Tehran and other Iranian cities, targeting military infrastructure and missile systems. At the same time, Israel opened another front in Lebanon. Hezbollah, Iran's powerful ally, began firing rockets toward northern Israel, prompting Israeli forces to strike dozens of targets in Lebanon and prepare for a potential ground operation. Meanwhile, US forces intensified their involvement. Reports indicate thousands of air and missile strikes within the first 24 hours of the campaign, making the opening phase even more intense than the start of the Iraq War in 2003. Naval clashes have also been reported, including the sinking of Iranian military vessels during the fighting. Across the region, civilians are evacuating cities as explosions and air raid sirens become increasingly common. The war is already causing devastating casualties. Reports indicate hundreds, possibly more than 1,000, people have been killed in Iran, including civilians caught in airstrikes. One particularly tragic incident involved a strike that reportedly hit a school, killing many children and drawing international outrage. Across Lebanon and the Gulf region, tens of thousands of people have been forced to flee their homes. And humanitarian organizations warn that the situation could rapidly deteriorate if the war continues to expand. The international community is deeply concerned. At an emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council, world leaders warned that the conflict could spiral into a much larger regional war. Russia and China have called for an immediate ceasefire. European governments are urging diplomacy, but both sides remain defiant. The United States says the strikes were necessary to stop Iran's nuclear ambitions. Iran says the attacks are an act of war and promises further retaliation. Right now, the world is watching a conflict that could reshape the Middle East. Multiple countries are already involved. Global oil markets are reacting, and military forces across the region are on high alert. The biggest fear is escalation, because if more regional powers join the fight, this conflict could grow far beyond the Middle East, and the consequences could affect the entire world.